Hi everyone, it's Bev DeBono, and I have a great technique for you called alternating punched borders. Now, usually when we work with a border punch, we punch straight across like this. Okay, so we will punch straight across to make a border and usually use just the top of the border. But what I want to show you is by punching straight across and then alternating, cutting the border strips and then alternating your colors, you can really create a very fun design. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the scalloped crochet border punch. So this is for border punch, not border maker cartridge. You also want a border punch that stays attached to the paper. So you don't want one that comes off, where you punch it and you get a page. The other thing that you want to look at is to make sure that your design is going to be the same when it's on the top and also when it's flipped and on the bottom. So something like pumpkin would not work because after you punch it and it's on the bottom, your pumpkins would be upside down. So things like damask flourish is good, the clouds, spider webs, petal, baroque, arch border, geometric, snowflake, dollop arch, any of these could work. They stay attached, and also your design is exactly the same on the top as it would be on the bottom. Okay, so let's get started. This sample was from Birthday Jubilee, and you see it's just with that crochet, scallop crochet border punch top and bottom, and I alternated colors here, and then put some um, just some embellishments off to the sides. Now, as far as, and I really like having big designs like this. It really extends your paper when you don't have enough paper to make a double page spread. This is a really great way to extend it. And you can see you can just put I like 4x6s, I like 4x4s. I find that they work really well together. And you can let me get some 4x4s to show you something like this. You could also do a 3.5x4. Um, so there's a lot of ways that you could put your pictures on your page as well. Okay. Okay, so let's get started. You're going to need 2 sheets of a background paper, probably either a tonal or a white. A lot of times, if you're not sure, white might be best. This happens to be from Vivid Melodies, which was a beautiful pack that I did this with the Mandala Punch. Again, it has the scallop frame on the top and the bottom, and it is the exact punch top and bottom. And this is with the Vivid Melodies in blue. Okay, so let's get started. We need our punch. You need to select your punch. You need to have 2 sheets of background paper. I'm going to be using the white, and I'm going to be using these two for my strips. And then you need to have a coordinating strip that goes across the top. And depending if you have words or if you are putting anything on there, it could vary between 1.5 to 1.75 inches. It just depends on what you are going to be showcasing there for that particular size. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to punch with I'm using the scallop crochet. I'm inserting my paper at the black line between the words creative memories, on the sides of the words creative memories. Make sure it's all the way on the black line, because that tells me when I turn it over that the paper is punching and starting right at the edge there. Okay, and I'm going to punch, then move it down, match your design to the picture on the shelf of the punch. Okay, so you've got a partial punch here. I'm moving it down now, and I'm going to match my design of my punched paper to the picture that's on the shelf of my punch. Okay, make sure it's all the way towards the back and punch. And you're going to punch a complete border at the top. Every once in a while, you may have to pull it out and take out that little whisker that's there that gets jammed up underneath. Match your paper to your picture, punch it, match your paper to the picture, and punch it again. Okay, a really pretty edge. Let me show you what that looks like. Isn't that pretty? That's the scallop crochet. So I'm going to clear all of this punch confetti. And I do this after every punch so that it doesn't clog up underneath. I don't want to take a chance of, jamming up my punches. Okay, so we punched one complete edge. Let's turn it all the way to the other side and punch another complete edge. Now you are doing this on a 12 by 12 sheet of paper. Oh, here we go. See, that whisker got hidden in there, and that's why my paper wasn't going all the way to the back. Okay, here we go. Another complete border. Now I punched moving to the right. If you like to punch moving to the left, you can. The pictures on the shelves are the same on both the right and the left. Just so long as you start in the exact same place, you're okay moving your paper either to the right or moving your paper to the left. And then just matching it with the picture on the shelf. There we go. So I've got I've got a border at the top and then a border at the bottom. Okay, let's do our next one, our next paper. I'm moving all of my confetti. Okay, and I had already done one whole row of this. So I'm just going to punch another row. Move it down. See, now I'm punching to the left. Isn't it funny? I'm used to punching to the right and now trying to punch to the left to show you that you can do it both ways. I'm a little slower because I'm just not used to punching in that direction. Okay, so I'm going to move my confetti. And now what I want to do is I'm going to cut these right at the middle of the punch. Okay, so for crocheted scallop, it's every 2. Okay, so I'm going to cut that after every 2 groups, and then cut it again after 2, cut it again after 2, and cut it again after 2. All right, so I'm going to line this up in my trimmer, and I'm going to center the two where the punch ends right on my cut line. Okay, so if you're not sure where the cut line is and where this is going to cut, tucked under your 12-inch trimmer at the top and the bottom, and I'm using my multi-purpose tool to get it, is this little plastic guide that has a black line on it. Okay, and that is where your blade is going to cut. So I want to make sure I'm cutting directly in the middle of these two places where the punch, where it's a direct right in the middle. Okay, and once I've got that, then I'm going to cut it. Each punch is different depending on the repeat of the punch. Some punches repeat at 2 inches, some punches repeat at 2 1/4, some repeat at 2 3/8. So each punch is going to be different. So it really depends on your punch, and that's why I wanted to show you how you can make sure that you're cutting it right there in the middle of the repeat. Okay, now if you used a full sheet of paper, you will have 5 of these. We're going to use 4, and you have 1 extra. Okay. This is really pretty, but I couldn't see the pattern on that. Okay, now I'm going to cut my next one exactly the same way. Right in the middle of my repeat. Okay, and these are going to go in between. You're going to alternate your colors. So like I said, this is great if you only have 1 sheet of each paper left and you want to make a double page spread and try to coordinate it, because this is a perfect way to do that. Okay, awesome. There we go. That's the hardest part of this whole technique. Okay, and now we're just going to lay out our strips. Alternate your strips and lay them out. And center them on your page. Okay, center them on your base. So because some punches are wider than others, some may fit closer to your edges than others. So it may not be the same for each punch. Like for this one, I'm probably going to start this at the 1 inch mark on the left. But when I get to the right side, it's at 1 1/4 inches. So I know I have to shift it down, oh, maybe just about 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Now I hadn't thought of it, but this would be awfully cute with the spider webs top and bottom and some fun Halloween colors in the middle. Okay, I'm going to use my repositionable tape so that I can get all these little pieces and make sure that they're taped down. Okay, and as I said, it depends on the size of the repeat of your punch as to where you're going to start it. So play around with that and shift it around just a little bit. I can see on my 13 by 13 mat that I had to shift it over to about 1 1/8. But if your punch has a different repeat, then you might be at 1 1/4. Okay, and then all we're doing now is just taping them down and matching up um, your strips. And you see the punch, they actually fit very well together. I'm using paper from the National Scrapbook Day 2025 Garden Collection for this page. Okay, isn't that pretty? The pretty oranges and that green. And now I'm gonna continue along to my other side. A very fast technique, but one that's so versatile and you can use over and over and over again. And it looks different each time you do it, depending on your papers. The most important one is your first one on your base, because after that, you're just lining them up next to each other. So the most important one to get straight, you don't want it slanted, is your very first one. All right, there we go. And once you have the 4 already positioned, your 4 strips already positioned, there you go. Now what you want to do is decide on a color that you're going to have a little strip that's going to go right across. If you have a border, sometimes a big border, like this is Birthday Jubilee, and I used one of the layered borders on this, then I just cut my strip so that it would fit behind that border. Okay, so whatever you're going to use is going to depend on what size border you have. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do for this is maybe use some of the paper that already had a border on it from the National Scrapbook Day papers and just put it on there just like that. So that was using a border that was already existing on there, and it actually looks kind of nice. So this particular one is about 1.5 inches. So you could do 1.5 inches at the top or 1.5 inches, 1.75 inches up to 1.75 inches. Okay, and I'm just putting it just so that my border, my top border, falls right below the end of my design. I don't want to cover up that pretty design. Okay, so this one is just to match it. If you're 1.5 inches on the right side, you want to do 1.5 inches on the left side. Just like that. Okay, and that's really a very fun look. And then I just selected a few of the embellishments to kind of fluff it up a little bit to go along with the design. So make this It's all about the garden here. And I'm going to put the watering can just like that. And then on the right side, probably some, I think I need another, choose another little flower pot there. And then on this side, I'm just going to do some, I just try to make sure that I can have a nice balance, to both sides there. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so as I had said, you can certainly add your photos. You can do 4x6s, overlapping, this way or this way. You can do 4x4s. You can dance your photos around if you want. It's just a very nice, there we go, kind of a neutral background, and you can add quite a few photos. You could even do circles on here too. That would also work out really well. You could also do some 4x4s, just 4x4s on there. And if you don't want to cover up that base, then you can just overlap just like that. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed our technique. It's called alternating border punches. Alternating punched borders is what it is. So tell me which one you like the best. Did you like the garden? Did you like the birthday? Did you like Capri Blue? Or did you like butterscotch? Okay, so if you're not currently working with a Creative Memories advisor, I'd appreciate it if you would order from my website. It's in the comment section. And if you are looking to become an advisor and join an advisor team, please consider me also. I do have a national team and we do have a lot of fun sharing our ideas. Okay, I hope to see you again soon. Bev DeBono Designs. Subscribe, and I do post a technique almost every week. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.